Welcome back to another series of the Everyday Growth Advisors podcast. This is number 3 with Dan from OptionsSwing. We have another guest today that's going to showcase the contrast of how a professional trader and a new trader views the markets. I think that this podcast will be particularly interesting for new traders who are just joining the industry, who feel and have been wondering what it feels like to get into a position where you are learning and trying to execute at the same time. So without further ado, welcome in Dan to the EGA podcast. How are you doing, man?
Good. Thanks for having me, T.
Absolutely, man. Dude, it's been so awesome to have you. I've been waiting to talk to you for so long on this podcast, man.
Yeah, we've been kind of bouncing back and forth, but I'm glad to be here now.
Absolutely, man. Yeah. So for all the viewers, listeners out there, Dan is one of the active moderators and also one of the key contributors to the daily Watchlist on the OptionsSwing platform. Now, for many people who don't know, OptionsSwing is an online community where we have almost close to 1,500 traders now, helping each other and kind of trading together every day. Feel free to check out their website, OptionsSwing.com. And we're here to discuss a couple of important things today because Dan has had a unique set of circumstances that has led up to his success now. Right, Dan?
Oh, yeah. Yes. This coronavirus has not been easy, but it's also been a blessing in some way, involving the market at least.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's start with a couple of the niceties. I always like to do like a short introduction so people can put a kind of a image in their head of you. Where are you from? How old are you? And how long have you been trading for?
All right. Well, easy enough. So I'm from a small city called Pomona, California. It's about 35 miles northeast of LA, so you can consider it SoCal. I was born and raised here.
Nice.
I'm 27 years old, and I've been trading since I want to say late January of this year. So
Okay.
not very long.
That's great. See, this is exactly the contrast that I wanted because we've had 2 professional traders who have been trading for a super long time. And now that we have you on here, and I know for a fact that you've been making money, so I want to see your perspective. I want to see your perspective and how you have quickly ramped up to a profitable standpoint. And this is why this podcast is going to be golden, right?
Yeah, no. So it wasn't easy. I mean, at first. So it was easy at first because I kind of jumped in at the perfect time, as you may say. My first trade was actually Tesla. Right before that, right before that run up, man, I got in there, and that's what kind of just hooked me onto this.
Okay. So you got in on a Tesla rush. Interesting. So your first trade was Tesla. That's what it was?
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. So you played the run up from like the massive run up from $250 or $300?
It was, I think I got in, so the reason I jumped into trading was because I'm a Reddit user, and I was scrolling through Reddit, and then I kind of ran into WSB as we all know it. And I saw there's a bunch of people just making a ton of money on Tesla calls. I'm like, how is the stock moving $80 to $100 a day? Like that's unheard of.
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
the next day I deposited money on Robinhood, and I purchased, I think it was I'm pretty sure it was like a $700 call a weekly. And the next day I woke up, I turned, I think it was like $800 into $7,000.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it was. I almost puked. I'm pretty sure I did puke that day. Just I've never seen anything like this before. And the day after that, so I still swung it. That was a degenerate move. So I swung it, and then the next day was 24,000. So at that point, at that point I was hooked. So I knew I was onto something when this happened.
Okay, right. So you basically got into a frenzy where you hit the roulette table and made double up twice or triple up twice.
Yeah.
Awesome, bro.
Yeah.
Okay. And okay, let's say, how long has it taken you since then to find a system that works for you?
Okay. So as most of us, what happened to most of us, you know how they say the first one's always free?
Yeah.
So this one was definitely free because I pretty much lost it instantly a couple of days later, just playing calls and just following blindly moves based off of WSB users, just buying those Microsoft 200 calls, man. So I pretty much lost that all pretty quickly. And then I just kind of stopped myself and asked myself, like, what am I doing wrong? Like, how could I be up almost 30,000 at some point and just lose it all in 3 days? So I kind of started looking for help, and I found the trading frat on YouTube. So I started watching him, and then I was making a pretty penny off of that. And then funny thing is, I posted on Instagram, and I don't know if you guys are familiar with Yaboyga from our Discord. So he hit me up because he's I met him at a bar. So he hit me up and told me about OS. And he told me, he kept on telling me to join OS. Like, dude, you got to join this place. And I asked him, like, do you have to pay for it? He said, yeah. I'm like, all right, I can't do that. And then I kept on losing, I kept on losing money. So I'm like, you know what? I'm going to give it a chance. And so what I really needed was, some guidance and somebody to tell me to stop, just stop what you're doing, take a break, look back, and just check what you're doing wrong. Because I remember the first move that I made and I posted on the OS was NVIDIA for earnings. All right, this is for NVIDIA earnings. I bought NVIDIA 320 expiration $420 calls. I put $2,000 into that. And that's yeah. So like I said, I still knew nothing. So as soon as I posted that picture, 10 seconds later, I had an instant message, and it was from Will. Will, he reached out to me. He's like, dude, like, are you okay? Do you know what you're doing? Like, honestly, I have no clue, man. Like, everything from the beginning has been just kind of like luck. And he explained, what IV Crush is, and Theta, and how it's my enemy and I shouldn't be playing that far at the money calls. And I learned my lesson, but I actually ended up getting lucky with that because NVIDIA kept on running, and I was lucky enough to sell it for a profit before the crash. So like I said, I just needed somebody to stop me and tell me, like, look, you're not going to keep getting lucky like you did with Tesla and Microsoft. You got to stop and just read the fundamentals and read the technical analysis. And that's what I've been doing so far, and it's been working.
Absolutely, dude. So I heard everything that you just said, and I can't agree with you more. This period that we're in right now is a very unique period in trading and in investing period. The main focus here is that there are a lot of people who see Instagram gurus and other people who are kind of running up their accounts really quickly, like how you said they could go from $700 to $50,000 in a day by making these calls that are kind of YOLO, which stands for you only live once. And they make money really quickly, but I always keep telling my mentees, this is not a race. This is a freaking marathon. You got to be able to run far if you want to be profitable in the long run. And so it's very refreshing to know that you took a very quick rise up a fall, and you realized that what you needed was guidance. That's step number one, you see, because I think many people, they have the ego, and the ego gets them trapped in a phase where they believe that by putting more money in is how they'll make that money back. They don't believe in following other people's advice. They think, let me do it on my own, because there is a sense of satisfaction from winning on your own than there is when you follow somebody else's trade. So sometimes I feel like that's what it is as well.
And
go ahead.
Oh, and you see that a lot with, a lot of our members, and a lot of YOLOs, and they've been hitting it so far, but we keep on trying to warn them, this luck is it's gonna run out at some point, and then you're gonna lose all your profit. Like, I see some people that just turn their accounts 1,000% in a month, and I'm happy for them, but like, if they start just like take a step back right now with the money you have, like some of these people have 40K and they started with $1,000, like, step back, look how much you have now, and then just kind of plan ahead. Like, you have $40,000 that you did not have 3 weeks ago. So now just play the safe road, pay the long term, and build your account from there. Like, don't continue YOLOing, because you're gonna lose it all. This market's gonna turn on you, and you're gonna be stepping on your own toes.
I'm gonna go ahead here and put in a little bit of a tidbit and a little bit of a gold nugget for anyone listening. Here is one really good way that I have used in the past, where when you make a big gain, how do you secure that gain and make sure that you don't lose it? And this goes for portfolio management in general. Okay. I'm just going to put this out there for people who are listening. My trading style is I run two portfolios. One is the options portfolio and the other is a dividend portfolio. Any active profits that I make from my options portfolio, which is my active investments that I'm trading on a daily basis, sees 50% of the profits dumped into my long-term holdings into dividends. That way, you are in the long term converting your active style into a passive style trading. Now, I think this is very, very, very important for people who have made big gains on their accounts in a short period of time. If you
Yes.
are a person who has made $700 into 40,000, you should absolutely consider, if you think that you can do the same strategy, then you should be able to trade with $10,000. Why don't you take the $30,000 and put it into dividend stocks and start building
Yes.
a dividend portfolio, and then use the
Mm-hmm.
$10,000 to do active investments and, you know, play on with your degenerate lifestyle. So that way,
Exactly.
you know,
Yeah.
you're kind of securing part of your future, and you have a bowl to eat from, right? Now, the
Mm-hmm.
other thing is 50% of your active profits go into the dividend portfolio. You still have 50% left. Well, 25% should be retained in that account for tax purposes, and you should pay yourself 25%. So
Yep.
that's kind of like my style to do it. And I just want to, you know, kind of put that out there as a golden nugget. So let's kind of jump into a little bit more of details here. What are some of the most important starting tools that aspiring traders should learn? Like, what really helped you to ramp up quickly when, you know, that from the moment that Will DM'd you and said, hey, do you know what you're doing? What were the steps that you took to quickly learn the right way to trade? And this would be interesting because new traders would be wanting to listen to this.
So like I said, so it's pretty much take a step back and kind of read the members that have experience and just not follow their place, but follow their strategies and just see which one you like. Like, you know, all of our members that make call outs, they all have different strategies. Like if
Absolutely.
you put the FOMO, if you put him as an example, you know, he hits a lot of those lottos and those long-term ER run-ups, they just kill it. And then we have Mike Miss that plays, you know, the Theta Gang, and he kills it too. I haven't seen a single losing play. So it's pretty much just comes down to, I think, what your portfolio size, because you can't really play the Theta Gang if you have a small portfolio. And then you're just kind of learn your risk management. Don't if you have a $3,000 account, don't buy $1,000 worth of them. Also, OS offers, you know, just a bunch of tools, and just I think as long as you're asking questions and don't be shy, there's no such thing as stupid questions. You're gonna learn a lot, and that's how I started, just asking a bunch of questions about the Greeks, about in the money, out the money, and all this kind of stock talk. Just learn it all before you kind of jump in big and start doing things on your own.
Absolutely agreed.
Mhm.
So let's dive into a little bit of something here. What about technical analysis? I know that you've been really quick to learn technical analysis, and maybe do you have any guidance for people who want to pick up technical analysis quickly? What are some things that you think are extremely prominent in your success? What are some of the I don't want to say indicators, but what is your setup like?
Okay, so the plays that I post on the member picks, they all have to do really with bull flag breakouts and kind of resistance points and support zones. Um, like if you look at Beyond today, I saw that it's been selling off pretty badly the past 2 days, and there's no news, there's no reason for it to sell off. And then you just kind of think about it, like, all right, why is Beyond selling off? Why has it peaked pretty high, hit new highs, and then just kind of sold off? And then if you ask yourself that, you pretty much think like, all right, it's kind of dipping down there to grab some paint.
Yeah,
That's a new term that me and Will like to use. Um, but by that, what we mean is it's kind of dipping down to gain some liquidity.
yeah.
It's grabbing some buyers so it can make new highs. So that's the strategy I've been playing for a while now. Just kind of bull flag breakouts and resistance points and support zones, which we'll probably get into later on.
See, this is a great point, and I want to chime in here to say something. I think many traders don't realize this, but you can always specialize in being a buy-side trader only. You don't necessarily have to excel at doing both buying and selling. Some people's brains aren't able to recognize what a short opportunity is versus a long opportunity. And it's great that you brought this up, because I think that concentrating on the buy side first is really important. When you can recognize what the buy side looks like, then all you have to do is flip the circumstances to the opposite side, and then you have the sell side opportunities. So that's a good point. Okay, so I kind of want to pivot here a little bit, and talk about something that you're a part of that, is a great contribution together with Will and Warwick on our mod team. I know that you guys put in, quite a few hours every day to build a watch list. And the watch list has become a very important part of our community because it kind of gives a good direction for some tickers that you guys are watching. And they're fireplace sometimes, right? So
Yeah.
you can kind of give us some, information about the watch list. So maybe you can start with telling us what are some of the key metrics that gets a stock chosen for the watch list?
For the stocks that we look for, we take some requests the day before, but mostly we look at sectors that are being affected in the market at the current time, and we always try to post stocks that have a big cap. We never go for small caps because those are easily manipulated. So we kind of, and then we try to play in the same ones mostly, just because if you learn a ticker, you kind of learn how it behaves.
Absolutely.
You learn the behavior, you learn the price action.
Yep.
Pretty much, that's what we tend to do. And as for the points that we pick for calls and puts, we're so me, Warwick, and Will, we all live in California. We're all SoCal boys, so we wake up at 5:30 in the morning every day, and we analyze these charts, and we go back a day before, and we pinpoint the highs and the lows, and kind of base our entry points off of those highs and lows. So let's say for a call, we base it off of Apple breaking yesterday's high, and then for a put on Apple, we'd base it pretty much on breaking a new low from yesterday, the day before.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so yeah, it's basically like a breakout strategy on either sides, and this has a lot to do with supply and demand as well. So those zones,
exactly,
pretty much, breaking points for supply and demand.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's good to know. And what are some of the timeframes that you use to determine these support and demands?
Depends how much. So, like, let's say a stock hasn't moved much and it's just been consolidating for a while. We kind of go back on the 4-hour chart and go way back and see how far can a breakout go.
Right.
And if it's been moving like a kangaroo, we go on based off of the 5-minute chart max, and that's what we base it off of.
Okay.
So that's what we've been doing lately, just because it's just been a lot of up and down.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, the market has indeed been a kangaroo.
Yeah, very range trade, range tight, I would say.
Right. Okay, and I think the watch list is a excellent addition to OptionsSwing. We got a lot of questions about those, so it's good that you're addressing some of them. Maybe can you perhaps explain? I think some people get confused about what you guys mean when you say wait for confirmation on break with good volume. Maybe you can say it one time, loud and clear for the people in the back.
All right. So what we mean by that is if the ticker hits our call side, let's say our call break, you got to look at the volume. Let's say you're trading on TV, you got to look at the bars at the bottom, and it's got to be more than average. You got to have your average line on your volume indicator. If it breaks that, then you're good to go. If it goes up on super low volume, it's probably a fake out, and you're gonna get trapped, and it's gonna dump after that or shoot up whatever side you're playing. So you gotta look at your volume on the bottom of your chart. If you're using TOS, same thing. So you're looking for a big stick. If it's a small one, don't play it.
Right. And another thing that I realized that people get here, that's one way people get trapped. The first way is they buy it on low volume. The second way is this is the second way, and this is the most common way people get trapped, is they see the big volume and then they refuse to get in because they think that is going to go, it's going to come down so that they can get in. But then it keeps running. Okay, here, listen, this is what exactly people do. It keeps running, and then they say, oh my God, it's running. Oh my God, it's not going to come down. And then when it's like at the absolute top, that's when they get in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
We know people do this.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
know people do this because they message me all the time on the DMs and they say, dude,
Is
I
it too
can't
late?
they say, I can't understand it, dude. I followed the watch list and I followed the volume break. But
That's my favorite question, man. When people ask, "Is it too late to jump into so and so?" Like
yeah,
today, I think Spotify was the one. Like, is it too late to jump into Spotify? I'm
yeah,
like, it kept running all day, so it was almost never too late to jump into it. But risk wise, it was way too late after an hour after it running at some
yeah,
point.
absolutely. So that's one thing that I wanted to, kind of put out there. It's it's absolutely too late. If you have to ask, is it too late? It's late.
Yeah, yeah. Don't FOMO. Do not
Yeah.
FOMO. It'll
Do
cost
not.
you. And then if you go chasing, they get in, and then they get shaken out on the
Yeah.
first dip. They sell right away for a loss, and then they keep watching it run after that.
Yeah, and then it's like a double whammy. That's the moment where you ask,
Exactly.
why
Yeah.
does God hate me? Right?
Yeah.
Why does God
Remember,
hate me?
guys, stocks don't only go up; they got to come down a little bit before they rip up
Exactly.
more.
People don't realize it. It's like a breathe in and breathe out. It's just like humans. Like you got to breathe. And so the
Yeah.
same way between the bulls and the bears, they breathe.
Mm-hmm.
They kind of fight between each other. It's kind of like a bull and a bear playing table tennis. One's got to
Yep.
hit the ball to the other guy. The other guy's got to hit the ball back. So there's always a wave pattern. Impulsive
Mm-hmm.
waves, corrective waves. People need to understand that. Never buy on the rallies. Always buy on the dips. That kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
that's funny because like not right now that you just said that kind of reminds me of when I first started watching your videos and you were talking about that breathing kind of pattern, and that just came to my mind right now. Just watching your videos from a long time ago when I first started
Yeah.
watching this.
That's basically like the
Hmm.
basics of trading. Like one of the biggest things that I could teach to people is that just that basic idea. And then if you put Elliott waves together with that, it's really a great understanding and how things move.
Yeah,
Um,
I have yet to kind of study Elliott waves. I haven't gone that far in it.
yeah, no, it's kind of you can definitely take some time to get to there. I think mastering other skills are more important.
Hmm.
Okay, let's kind of get into a little bit more of like the mindset stuff now, because I know that even though technical knowledge is important, uh,
Hmm.
let's talk about a little bit about. Do you have like a systematic style of trading?
I like swing trading.
Okay.
That's where I make most of my gains. So I kind of like buying on red days
Yeah.
and do at least 2 or 3 weeks out on calls or puts.
Yeah.
Mostly calls, mostly calls.
One more time.
And
Say it louder for the people in the back, not to play weekly contracts. Can you say it one
don't
more
play weekly. So if you're playing swings, do at least 2 weeks out. At least 2 weeks out.
Thank you.
So I like doing swing trading. I kind of buy not too far at the moment. Let's say if, as the SPY is at 310 right now, I'll buy July calls for 315, a couple
Yeah.
contracts, and it's it's insurance. You have plenty of time because especially in this market right now, it's kangaroo. You have plenty of time, so even if you take a loss, it's not going to be too bad. But
Yeah.
if you buy weekly 315s, your money's going to disappear pretty fast in a
Yeah.
day or two.
I mentioned it so many times, and maybe I should say it one more time. For weekly contracts, you can buy them on Monday and Tuesdays, completely fine. The
Mm-hmm.
moment it hits Wednesday, you got to sell those contracts because
Yep. Theta
Wednesday,
starts kicking
Thursday,
in hard.
Friday. Uh huh.
Yep.
Theta, Mr. Theta, he loves Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yep.
guy works extra hard on those days.
Yeah.
Uh,
Don't get me wrong. They're good for day trading weeklies, but for
yeah,
swing trading, do not get weeklies.
absolutely. Yeah, we're talking
Mm-hmm.
about swing trading now, so that is absolutely true, and I agree with you. What is your mindset like for trading?
If I get into a play, and I believe it's going to go the way I think it is, I'm going to stick with it. I don't really set a stop loss. I kind of just, average down. And if
Okay,
it doesn't go my way, I just respect my losses and kind of step away for a little bit and like, you know what, that didn't work. On to the next one.
that's great, dude. Having
Yeah.
that discipline style is good. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what was your biggest win and your biggest loss?
My biggest win was playing TLT. So it's funny that we're just talking about that today, right? So I played treasury bonds right when the market was crashing, and I learned treasury bonds through trading frat. Kind of, you learn how people kind of turn to treasury bonds when the market is going to poo poo.
Yep.
They want to put their money in a safety channel, and I kind of hit it. I bought TLT when it was a couple of cents per contract, and I bought $200 worth of it. And it's crazy.
Wow. epic, man.
That was my biggest one. TLT, yeah, 200 bucks into 35 or so. I think it was.
Whew.
Yep.
And
That
what
was a
about your
big
biggest
boy.
loss?
Biggest loss was Microsoft 320s, 200 calls.
That got all of us.
Dude, yeah, that was bad.
I think
I
that
think
got
I,
you. I'm
I,
pretty
I
sure.
think it was like that was a $6,000 loss on that one. And
Oh,
you know what? I saw it just kind of just die slowly. Actually, no, it died pretty fast. I was on my last, I think I was down 50%, and I told myself, should I sell it? I'm like, nah, just leave it in there. And surely enough, 2 days later, it was all gone.
yeah, yeah.
It was
So,
really
okay.
bad, man.
So how do you emotionally deal with these losses? Like, if it is a big loss or a big gain, how do you deal with it?
You know what? I'm kind of bummed out for a couple of minutes, and then I step back and just like, you know what? It's money. I get it. You lose it, but it's no reason kind of to be depressed or kind of kick yourself in the butt for it. Always tell yourself, you're learning. Losing is part of the learning process.
Yep.
And you're gonna come back. And I don't want to say you're gonna make your money back. Don't tell yourself that like, all right, I gotta get my money back. No, just kind of tell yourself, all right, I'm gonna learn, and I'm gonna keep doing this until I turn a profit. And that's exactly what I did. I just kept going. I didn't try not to YOLO too much. Try not to tell yourself that you're gonna make your money back in a week, because you won't. Um, and just don't stress out, because if you trade on emotions, you're gonna lose a lot more than you did the first time.
Absolutely. I agree,
Yeah,
man.
trading on emotions is really, really bad. That's a big no-no.
Yeah, I can safely say that when I first started out trading and I would make a loss, I would revenge trade all the time. I would be like,
Yeah.
"Oh, you want to take money from me? Okay, I'm gonna double down on you now." That kind
Yeah.
of. And
That's what happened with Microsoft, man. It started with $500 and it led up to 6,000. Yeah.
yeah, and you keep adding more and more because you're
Yep.
like, "There's no way this can keep going down. There's no way, absolutely no way. It has to come
Yeah.
back up, right?" Or
Exactly.
like how Spotify was yesterday. There's no way this can keep going up, and somebody keeps buying puts and keeps buying puts and keeps buying
Yeah.
puts, and then
Yep.
tomorrow it gaps up. It's,
Yeah.
you're like, you wake up and you're like, dude, what the hell is going on? Why does God hate me, man?
Yeah.
Uh,
And it was probably Mike that sold you guys those puts, by the way.
yeah,
uh,
that's great. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think this is all golden information for new traders, and I really
hmm
appreciate you coming onto the podcast with me, and I hope
yeah,
that I can run a couple more with you in the future. We can
yeah, man. Thanks for having me.
absolutely, have a couple of different topics that we can talk about. There are a lot of things that I want to discuss with you, and I'm going to leave it for the next podcast. But just to end things off really nicely here, do you have, like, what would be, if you could go back in time, okay, step into a time machine and tell yourself something in the beginning of January, before you traded, before everything went down, what would you tell yourself?
Take it easy, man. Don't get too excited for your first win. And if you do get a big first win, put it in your pocket. Pay yourself. And don't build an ego off that first big win. Don't let yourself get bummed out off your first big loss. Kind of just take it easy. Small
Yeah,
steps. Small
right,
steps.
right. So don't try to ride the big swirl, but rather
Yeah.
focus on a couple of small swirls and then
Mm-hmm.
work your way up
Mm-hmm.
to a bigger wave, right?
Exactly.
That's beautiful, beautiful advice. And dude, thank you so much for coming on this podcast.
Oh, thank you, T.
I appreciate you so much. And this podcast series is gonna just keep getting better and better. So I hope you guys are
No, man. Yeah. I was super honored when you asked me to be on it. I'm like, yeah,
absolutely,
dude. It's awesome.
absolutely, dude. Thank you very much, Dan. I will talk to you soon. We will
Right, T.
record another podcast, and this is just the beginning.
Got it, man. I'll
Thank
talk
you
to you
guys for
tomorrow.
tuning in to the Everyday Growth Advisors podcast series. This is number 3. Stay tuned for number 4, which will be another special guest. We will have exciting podcasts coming up in the future for you guys to kind of experience different viewpoints. This podcast series is kind of to give you different viewpoints from different traders and let you experience the world from their perspective. And I hope that it helps you out. If this podcast did indeed give you some kind of insight, please leave a comment below or simply just leave a like on the video. I appreciate you guys listening and see you next time.
Peace.